until to Egypt, past, of course, Sudan, and the entire livelihood that depend on that river and the consequences this will bear in terms of the shared endeavor that is needed amongst the community of nations. But Dr. coming to you, the president even at some point said there is no point of the Parties of Climate Conference, COP, to happen, and even called for its scrapping. It says in many aspects and to a larger degree, the outcome has been inconsequential, especially if the big polluters not doing their part in terms of the money that they ought to be channeling for mitigation purposes. And then back at home, he makes pronouncement that's likely to have an impact on our forest cover, which is already below the target that's needed by the United Nations. I mean, how does the government then bridge these two differences for communication purposes and address a problem that's pertinent, especially for a country like Kenya that's bearing the consequences of climate change?
Ayub, allow me to thank you so much for this show. And I have a lot of respect for the people of Kacheliba and therefore the Mheshimiwa. And today, this show has done something extremely good to Kenyans. That we now know that it is not the president who gave the orders. It is the parliament that advised that the ban be lifted, just as the member of parliament. So I want to thank the president. I had no mistake thanking the president always, because he is an environmentalist, he is an ecologist par excellence, gone through that. And therefore, this proves that it is pressure. And I want to offer myself to Mheshimiwa to create time to come and speak to your members of parliament. I have a lot of respect for you. There is only a mismatch between your statement and what you said with the reality of things. I now even know where the word miti siwachwe kuoza, where it has come from, because it has now come from the Mheshimiwa. So thank you. This is something extremely good for Kenyans. It has nothing to do with the president, but the advisors of the president. And the Mheshimiwa is here because he has said that they recently lifted up some 5,000 trees and it was acres, it was given out, and that everything has been checked and advised. Now, I have a few questions that I want us to ponder. And by the way, Mheshimiwa, I respect you a lot. The fact that you're mentioning things that may not have real good impact to the community does not cause me to disrespect you and the people of Kacheliba that I hold in high esteem. There are a few things that you had not considered. Number one, and I want you to go and read the task force report again after this. And for your reference, it is available on my Twitter page. Please, it's one that's pinned on the top. Please, I request you with all due respect, please read it. As we speak today, when you say that the capacity of Kenya Forest Service is okay, and therefore they can deal with that, do you know we have had statements of 2,000 people that have recently been employed, which is excellent. I want to advise you that those people are still in training. They have not come out. And 2,000 people is a drop in the ocean. One person, a forester, is supposed to take care of 400 acres on average. The current situation is that one officer is doing more than 10,000 acres. One. And they're supposed to work two. Do you know that people in Kenya Forest Service do not have resources that they need to have? They have no vehicles that are sufficient. They have no motorcycles. They have even no clothing for cold in the forest. They have no water in the forest. I have been personally in Limuru, where the head of that entire forest does not have water. He buys water in a Bowser. He lives in a house that is so dilapidated. It was built in 1901. The guy who is supposed to be in charge of that skips holes in his own house, like 2 meter or 1 meter hole, because the house is lifted at that level. Are we saying in all our best minds that this is the team that we have not resourced, that we have not given what they need to have? They're actually led by the community around them. because they are supported. The guy had to get the community to build a toilet for him. I have seen it with my own eyes. Okay. That is the Kenya forest. Wait, let me, I gave you time, I didn't interfere. We met during this time of the preparation, and by the way, I was part of the task force, just in case you didn't. That's why I request that you also read it very carefully. The findings of what was there, the valuation system of the forest material, the protection capacity, the fencing and the edge of the forest versus the community's demands out of this, the usage of the forest products is so terribly away from anyone who can ever sit in their best mind to recommend that now lift the ban. I can only request you with God's fear, please read the report.
Okay. Dr. I take your point. Okay, I'll come to you, Honorable.
Yeah, and I was only rebutting on what he said, that they advised the president after due diligence of the reading of the report, and when he says that trees should be allowed to rot, should not be allowed to rot in the forest.
Okay. Yeah. Now, to my question, you have talked about welfare issues, which are very important. It's a key component to run any organization. But isn't it the government's responsibility to address some of the problems that you have mentioned? And what has been done over time, up to the point that the report had pointed out that the recommendations included an investigation and prosecution of the agency officials who are found culpable, and the constitution of a caretaker management team, and complete overhaul of the forest management practices in Kenya. I mean, besides the directive, what was done previously to address this problem of welfare to prevent what the KFS officials have embarked on, which was the wanton destruction, and also which allowed illegal settlement and illegal also cutting down of trees?
Quite a lot, and I believe that is what the member of parliament, now I know where to direct every question in this world about the logging, and I'm so happy about it. We need to check on what has been done, the investigations. You know, KFS has got very good officers, extremely good officers. There are also terrible officers in that place. Look back and see when excision is done best. You remember I blew the whistle on Mau at the time that it was happening. You realize that every election cycle, there is nobody.
Okay, Dr. Let me just pause you. You will proceed with the point. And